At the engagement banquet, I watched helplessly as my fiancé, Jiyu Lingxiao, kissed my bridesmaid. The 300 guests below fell into a dead silence, everyone waiting to see me become a laughingstock. Ruyan, I'm sorry. Jiyu Lingxiao released Song Yaki, not a trace of remorse in his eyes. I've always loved Yaki. This engagement was a mistake from the start. Song Yaki nestled in his arms, a triumphant smile on her face. This woman, whom I considered my closest friend, had stabbed me in the back on the most important day of my life. Liu Ruyan, it's time you woke up. Her voice was as clear as a silver bell. Brother Lingxiao has never loved you. He only pities you. Whispers rose from the audience below, with some taking photos and others recording videos. I stood on the stage, wearing a custom-made wedding dress worth 100,000, yet I felt like the biggest joke. Pities me. I slowly removed the diamond ring from my finger. Song Yaki, you've misunderstood one thing. What? Her triumphant smile froze on her face. Where were you when Jiyu Lingxiao was pursuing me? I raised the diamond ring high. 3 years ago. Didn't you say he wasn't good enough for you? Song Yaki's expression changed, and Jiyu Lingxiao was also stunned. When you rejected him 3 years ago, I was the one who comforted him and stayed by his side through his lowest moments. I continued, now that he's wealthy, you're back. The guests below the stage began to murmur, with some recalling the events from 3 years ago. Ruyan, don't talk nonsense. Song Yaki grew anxious. Nonsense. I laughed. Jiyu Lingxiao, tell her, who handed you tissues 3 years ago when you were crying in the KTV, begging her not to leave? Jiyu Lingxiao's face turned ashen. He hadn't expected me to expose his scars in public, and tell her. Who mortgaged their own house to provide you with startup funds when you were short on money in the early days of your business? The audience erupted in an uproar, everyone staring at us in shock. Liu Ruyan, that's enough. Jiyu Lingxiao shouted in anger and embarrassment. Enough. I flung the diamond ring with force, hitting him squarely on the forehead. It's you who have gone too far. A drop of blood seeped from Jiyu Lingxiao's forehead. He clutched the wound, his face turning deathly pale. 3 years of feelings, over 1,000 days and nights. I treated you as my whole world. My voice grew louder and louder. And now you tell me it was all a mistake. Sister Ruyan, please don't be like this. Song Yaki tried to come over and pull me. I took a step back, avoiding her touch. Don't call me sister. I don't have a sister like you. I looked at her. Song Yaki, remember what I said today. What do you mean? One day, you will pay for what you have done today. I lifted the hem of my dress and walked off the stage in my high heels. Jiyu Lingxiao, remember, it was I who broke up with you, not you who abandoned me. I walked out of the hotel without looking back, the murmurs and camera clicks of the guests echoing behind me. This farce was finally over. As I reached the hotel entrance, I saw Jiang Chen waiting there. He is my business partner and also my best friend. Like smoke, he quickly walked over, took off his suit jacket, and draped it over me. Are you cold? Not cold. I shook my head. Jiang Chen, thank you for not going in to watch me become a laughingstock. What laughingstock? He looked at me seriously. I think you were very impressive today, more impressive than ever. Tears finally couldn't help but fall, not because I was sad about losing Jiyu Lingxiao, but because I was moved. When everyone was watching me become a laughingstock, at least there was still one person standing by my side. Let's go, I'll take you home. Jiang Chen gently patted my shoulder. Okay. Sitting in Jiang Chen's car, I saw Jiyu Lingxiao and Song Yaki coming out of the hotel through the rearview mirror. They hugged at the entrance, as if they were truly in love. I withdrew my gaze and stopped looking at them. From now on, their affairs have nothing to do with me. 2. Back home, I collapsed onto the sofa, my mind completely blank. 3 years of feelings, gone just like that. The house was filled with photos of me and Jiyu Lingxiao, and those sweet memories now felt like a mockery. I stood up and began tearing up those photos, one by one. This man was once my whole world. How many opportunities did I give up for him? When I graduated from university, I could have worked at a well-known design company in Shanghai, with a salary 3 times higher than here, but Jiyu Lingxiao said he didn't want a long-distance relationship, so I stayed to be with him. Later, when I started my own studio, I finally landed a major project that required me to stay in Beijing for 6 months. Jiyu Lingxiao said he couldn't manage without me during the early stages of his business, so I turned down the project. To protect his self-esteem, I even hid my family background. My father is a well-known real estate developer in this city, and I could have easily used my family connections to get more opportunities, but I was worried that Jiu Lingxiao would feel burdened. So I always pretended to come from an ordinary family. I even said our house was bought with a loan, but in reality, my dad bought it outright and gave it to me. And what about him? He had an affair behind my back with my best friend and publicly humiliated me at the engagement party. My phone rang, it was my mom calling. Ruyan, are you okay? I heard about what happened at the engagement party. Mom's voice was filled with concern. Come home, I'll make your favorite braised pork ribs. Mom. I'm fine, I'm just a bit tired and want some time alone. That good-for-nothing boy. I never liked him from the start, Mom said indignantly. Your dad was against you two being together from the beginning, saying he wasn't a good person. Mom, let's not bring up the past. Alright, I won't mention it, but Ruyan, remember, if the sky falls, your mom and dad are here to hold it up. You're still young, and there will be plenty of good men in the future. After hanging up the phone, I stared blankly at the night scene outside the window. The night in this city is beautiful, with neon lights flickering and a steady flow of traffic. Life must go on, and I can't let an unworthy man stop me from moving forward. I turned on my computer and started organizing my recent work projects. Since love can't be relied on, I'll rely on my career instead. Working late into the night, I finally felt a bit better. Having something to do keeps my mind from wandering. The next morning, I received a message from Jiang Chen, saw the news. Are you okay? I glanced at my phone. The engagement party incident had already made the local news. The headline was jarring. Famous designer's engagement party ends in betrayal by fiancé. The comments section was filled with all kinds of voices. Some sympathized with me, others took pleasure in my misfortune. And some even claimed I was dumped because I wasn't good enough. I closed the news and replied to Jiang Chen, I'm fine, thanks for your concern. Don't push yourself too hard. I know you must be feeling really bad right now. Let's have lunch together at noon. I have a project I'd like to discuss with you. I looked at my haggard self in the mirror, applied some light makeup, and changed into professional attire. Life must go on. I can't let myself look too disheveled. 3. At noon. Jiang Chen took me to a quiet tea restaurant. Eat first. We'll talk about work later. He placed a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs on my plate. You're too thin. You need to eat more. I looked at the ribs on my plate and remembered my mother saying yesterday that she would make braised pork ribs for me. My eyes welled up with tears again. Jiang Chen, why does everyone think I'm so pitiful? I put down my chopsticks. So many people were watching the commotion yesterday. But not a single person stood up to speak for me, because they don't know the real you. Jiang Chen looked at me earnestly. In my eyes, you are the strongest and most talented woman. Jiu Lingxiao doesn't deserve you. This sentence was like a beam of light, shining into my gloomy heart. We've known each other for 3 years. Right, I said with a bitter smile. You've seen me at my most miserable and at my most glorious. Yes, from when you first started your business until now. I've always been by your side. Jiang Chen nodded. I've watched you grow step by step, from a green designer to the well-known figure in the industry you are today. So, do you think I've wasted these 3 years? Of course not, he said seriously. Ruyan, you must believe that your worth is not defined by any man. Your talent, your hard work, your achievements, these are all real and substantial. I was moved by his words. Thank you, Jiang Chen. Don't thank me. I'm just telling the truth, he said, pulling out a document. Let's get down to business. There's a client who wants us to design a resort, with a budget of 5 million. I opened the document, and my eyes lit up. This was a major project. If we did it well, it would be enough to take our studio to the next level. The project materials are very detailed. The client wants a comprehensive resort that integrates vacation, leisure, and entertainment, covering an area of 300 acres. With an estimated construction period of 2 years, this project is quite challenging, I said, carefully reviewing the materials. The mountainous terrain is complex, and we need to consider environmental protection and sustainable development while also balancing commercial value. That's exactly why I wanted to take on this project with you, Jiang Chen said. With your design skills, I'm sure you can come up with a plan that will satisfy the client. When is the meeting with the client? Tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon, at the Hilton Hotel. I nodded, suddenly remembering something. By the way, who is this client? Jiang Chen hesitated for a moment. It's Mr. Han from the Han Group. The Han Group, of course. I know this company, it's one of the largest investment firms in the city. And, isn't the Han Group the biggest competitor of Jiyu Lingxiao's company? Yes, Jiang Chen said honestly. I know this might put you in a difficult position, if you don't want to take it on. We can decline. I thought for a moment and shook my head. Why decline? This is a legitimate business collaboration and has nothing to do with personal grudges. Are you sure? Confirmed. I closed the file, and I'm really curious to see how long Jiyu Lingxiao can last without my help. Jiang Chen smiled. That's the Liu Ruyan I know. After dinner, we returned to the studio. Assistant Xiao Lin saw me and asked with concern, "Boss, are you okay? I saw the news online. I'm fine." Thanks for your concern. I patted her shoulder. By the way, please organize the information on the Han Group. We'll need it tomorrow. Okay. Xiao Lin immediately went to take care of it. I sat at my desk and began to conceptualize the design plan for the resort. Work helps me forget my troubles, a habit I've had since college. Before I knew it, it was time to leave work. Xiao Lin knocked and came in. "Boss, it's time to go. You should head home and rest early too, alright? You go ahead first." After Xiao Lin left, I was the only one left in the office. Looking at the night view outside the window, I remembered that at this time yesterday, I was still preparing for today's engagement party. Back then, I thought I would become the happiest woman in the world. Now, looking back, it feels truly ironic. For the next afternoon, I put on my most formal business attire and headed to the Hilton Hotel. Mr. Han is a middle-aged man in his 40s who appears very refined. His assistant introduced that Mr. Han graduated from a prestigious overseas university and, after returning to China, took over the family business, developing the Han Group into its current scale. Ms. Liu, I've long heard of your reputation. He extended his hand proactively. The landscape villa you designed left a deep impression on me. Thank you for your recognition. Mr. Han, I shook his hand. We discussed the project requirements in detail in the conference room. Mr. Han's demands were clear. If we were going to do it, we had to aim for the best, regardless of cost. I hope this resort can become a landmark building in our city, said Mr. Han. It should have modern facilities while preserving the beauty of nature. I understand your vision, I said, presenting the preliminary plan I had prepared. We can adopt the concept of ecological architecture, protecting the original vegetation to the greatest extent while incorporating modern design elements. Mr. Han carefully reviewed the plan, nodding from time to time. The approach is clear, and the considerations are thorough. After an hour of discussion, Mr. Han was very satisfied with our proposal. Deal, I can pay half of the design fee upfront. He signed the contract. By the way, I heard you got engaged the other day. Congratulations. I was taken aback for a moment. No, I'm still single. Oh, I heard you and Jiyu Lingxiao. He seemed to realize he had said something wrong. Sorry. Maybe I misheard. It's fine. I do know Jiyu Lingxiao, but we have no relationship now, I said calmly. President Han smiled meaningfully. That's even better. I know Jiyu Lingxiao. He's not a good person. You know him? Of course I do. We've been rivals in the business world for a long time. President Han took a sip of tea. On the surface, he appears righteous and dignified. But behind the scenes, there's nothing he wouldn't do. I didn't respond, but I understood. If President Han spoke of him like that, it was clear that Jiyu Lingxiao's reputation in the business world was indeed far from good. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about something happy, Mr. Han changed the subject. Miss Liu, if this project goes well, I have other projects I'd like to collaborate on. What projects? A commercial complex, with a larger investment scale. Mr. Han smiled mysteriously. But it's not convenient to reveal too much right now. We'll talk more when the time is right. After leaving the hotel, Jiang Chen asked me, how do you feel? Everything went smoothly. We've secured this project. I was in a good mood. Mr. Han is a great person. Very professional. That's good. Jiang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, I was worried that you might let your work performance be affected because of Jiyu Lingxiao. Not at all, I said firmly. Feelings are feelings. Work is work. I keep them very separate. We drove back to the studio, passing by that Western restaurant where Jiyu Lingxiao and I used to go often. Through the glass window, I saw a familiar figure. Jiyu Lingxiao and Song Yaqi were sitting inside. seemingly arguing about something. Song Yaki looked very upset, while Jiyu Lingxiao kept explaining something. Should we stop? Jiang Chen noticed my gaze. No, keep driving. I withdrew my gaze. It's none of my business. But I couldn't help but wonder, what were they arguing about? 5. A week later, I devoted myself wholeheartedly to the design work for the resort project. This project was indeed quite challenging, building a modern resort while preserving the natural environment. I consulted a vast amount of materials and even conducted several on-site inspections. Ruyan, you've lost weight these past few days, Jiang Chen said, walking into my office with a cup of coffee. Should I order takeout? No need, I'm not hungry, I replied without looking up. Continuing to sketch the design plans. You can't keep going on like this. Your body won't be able to take it. Jiang Chen walked up behind me, looking at my design draft. It's very well done. But you also need to remember to rest. I'm almost finished with the drawing. I put down the pen and stretched my neck. What do you think of this design? Jiang Chen examined it carefully. It's excellent, both modern and retaining a natural sense of beauty. President Han will definitely be satisfied. Just as we were talking, Xiao Lin knocked on the door and came in. Boss, someone is here to see you. Who is it? Mr. Jiyu. Xiao Lin's expression looked a bit odd. He says he has something important to discuss with you. I frowned. Let him in. Jiyu Lingxiao walked into the office, looking noticeably more haggard. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and he hadn't shaved, completely lacking the energetic appearance he once had. Ruyan, let's talk. He glanced at Jiang Chen. Could you give us a moment alone? Whatever you have to say it here. I had no intention of letting Jiang Chen leave. Jiang Chen is my business partner. There's nothing he can't hear. Jiyu Lingxiao gritted his teeth. Fine, I'll get straight to the point. Yaki, she broke up with me. I stopped writing and looked at him coldly. So what? She said I wasn't good enough for her, that I was just a tool for her to get back at her ex-boyfriend. Jiyu Lingxiao's voice was very low. Ruyan, I know I was wrong. That day, I was blinded and bewitched by Yaki. Oh, abandoned so quickly. I sneered. It seems Song Yaki is smarter than me. Knowing when to cut her losses. Ruyan, can we start over? Jiyu Lingxiao took a step closer. I promise I'll never betray you again. I put down my pen and looked at him seriously. This man was once my whole world. He had a tall, straight figure, a handsome face, and a sweet-talking mouth. But now it seems, it's nothing special. Jiyu Lingxiao, do you think feelings are a game, starting when you say start, ending when you say end? I really know I was wrong. Give me another chance. Okay. He wanted to hug me, but I avoided him. I already gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. I stood up, looking down at him. And do you think you still have the right to come back to me? What do you mean? It means I don't love you anymore. I looked straight into his eyes. Jiyu Lingxiao, you are dead to me. He froze, clearly not expecting me to be so harsh. Ruyan, you're not like this. You're kind-hearted. You wouldn't be so cruel. Yes, I used to be kind-hearted indeed. I smiled. But kind people always get bullied, so I decided to change. Ruyan, get out. Don't make me call security. I pointed at the door. And don't come looking for me again. Jiyu Lingxiao stood there, his face turning very unpleasant. In the end, he still left. Jiang Chen walked over and asked with concern, Are you okay? It's nothing, just a fly flew in, and I've already chased it away. I sat back down. By the way, is there any new progress on Mr. Han's project? Yes. He wants to invite us to dinner to discuss the details, Jiang Chen said. Tonight at 7, at the Swan Lake Hotel. The Swan Lake Hotel is the most upscale hotel in the city. It seems Mr. Han takes this project very seriously. Alright, I'll get ready. After work, I changed into a formal business suit and applied some delicate makeup. Looking at myself in the mirror, I nodded with satisfaction. No matter the circumstances, one should never allow themselves to appear disheveled. This is a principle I was taught from a young age. 6. At 7 o'clock in the evening, we arrived at Swan Lake Hotel on time. President Han is already waiting in the private room, with a table full of exquisite dishes. Miss Liu, Mr. Jiang, please have a seat. He warmly greeted us. During the meal, we discussed the design plan in detail. President Han truly lives up to his reputation as a big business figure, with a unique perspective and very insightful suggestions, once this resort is built. I plan to invite some friends to vacation here. President Han raised his glass. I hope Miss Liu and Mr. Jiang will also come and enjoy it then. Thank you, Mr. Han. I raised my glass and clinked it with his. Just as we were chatting animatedly, the door to the private room suddenly swung open. Jiyu Lingxiao and Song Yaqi walked in, both dressed very formally, clearly here for business, but upon seeing us, Song Yaqi's expression instantly turned unpleasant. Hello, Mr. Han. Jiyu Lingxiao greeted politely, though his gaze remained fixed on me. Mr. Jiyu is here. Please have a seat, Mr. Han signaled the waiter to add a chair. Song Yaqi sat across from me, her eyes filled with hostility. She was wearing a Chanel suit today, with a Cartier bracelet on her wrist, looking very wealthy. Sister Ruyan, long time no see. Her voice was still sweet, but I could hear the provocation in it. Yes, the last time we met was at my engagement party, I responded with a smile. Your performance that day was truly impressive. Song Yaqi's face flushed, and Jiyu Lingxiao quickly stepped in to smooth things over. President Han, we came today to discuss collaborating with you on the development of the land in the city center. Jiyu Lingxiao took out the documents. Our proposal is already prepared. I'm sorry, President Jiyu. President Han interrupted him. I've already signed a contract with Miss Liu's studio and won't be considering other partners in the short term. Jiyu Lingxiao's expression turned grim. President Han, our offer is 20% lower than theirs, and we have more extensive experience. Money isn't the issue. What I value is professional competence and character. Mr. Han glanced at me, and Miss Liu's character is trustworthy. This remark was clearly aimed at Jiyu Lingxiao, and the atmosphere in the private room instantly grew tense. Song Yaqi couldn't sit still any longer. She set down her wine glass and spoke directly. Mr. Han, what do you mean by that? What do I mean, Mr. Han retorted. You said Liu Ruyan's character is trustworthy. Does that mean Ling Xiao's character is problematic? Song Yaqi's voice rose a few notches. I think it's very unfair of you to say that. Fair or not, it's not for you to decide. I put down my chopsticks and looked at this former best friend, Song Yaqi. What right do you have to speak for Jiyu Lingxiao? I'm his girlfriend. Of course I have the right. Girlfriend. I laughed. Didn't you two break up a few days ago? Song Yaqi's expression changed, clearly not expecting me to know about this. We made up, she said, somewhat flustered. Oh, made up. I deliberately drew out my words. Congratulations to you both. Jiyu Lingxiao's expression grew even darker. He knew Song Yaqi was lying, but in front of Mr. Han, he couldn't expose her. President Han, we are very sincere in our cooperation and hope you can reconsider. Jiyu Lingxiao tried to remain calm. No need to reconsider. My decision will not change. President Han's attitude was firm. Moreover, I have doubts about the business ethics of certain individuals. At this point, even Jiyu Lingxiao couldn't stay seated. President Han, what do you mean by that? Nothing much, just speaking the truth. The atmosphere in the private room grew increasingly tense, and Song Yaqi finally couldn't hold back any longer. 7. Liu Ruyan, stop pretending to be noble here. Song Yaqi stood up, pointing at me. Do you think I don't know? You did it on purpose. On purpose for what? I still maintained my smile. You deliberately took on Mr. Han's project just to go against Ling Xiao. Her voice grew sharper and sharper. You're nothing but a scheming bitch, pretending to be magnanimous on the surface. But deep down, you're dark and twisted. The private room was eerily quiet, with everyone watching the drama unfold. I slowly stood up, looking at this hysterical woman. Song Yaqi, you've misunderstood one thing. What? I didn't take on this project just to oppose Jiyu Lingxiao. I walked up to her. I did it to make money. Do you think my world still revolves around him? I sneered. Song Yaqi, you overestimate him, and you overestimate yourself. What do you mean? It means. In my eyes, you don't even qualify as enemies, because enemies at least pose a threat, while you, I paused, are nothing more than two clowns. Song Yaqi turned pale with anger at my words and raised her hand to hit me. I easily caught her wrist and flung it away, causing her to stumble back a few steps. Song Yaqi, I advise you to remember that not everyone is as easy to bully as Jiyu Lingxiao. You dare hit me. She clutched her wrist, tears welling in her eyes. I didn't hit you. I was just defending myself. I straightened my clothes, and even if I did hit you, so what, Ruyan? That's enough. Jiyu Lingxiao finally couldn't hold back. Yaqi is just concerned about me. Why are you treating her like this? I turned to look at him, my eyes filled with mockery. Care about you, Jiu Lingxiao. Are you sure she's caring about you, not just using you? What do you mean? You think I don't know? What did Song Yaki say when she rejected you 3 years ago? I said coldly. She said you were just a poor boy, not good enough for her. Jiu Lingxiao's face turned ashen, clearly recalling those unpleasant memories. Now that you have money, she's back. Do you think this is love, or something else? I continued. Jiu Lingxiao, are you really that naive? You're talking nonsense. Song Yaki grew anxious. I love Lingxiao, not because of his money. Is that so? I took out my phone from my bag. Then explain why you've been showing off the bags and jewelry Jiu Lingxiao bought for you on your social media, but you've never posted a single photo of the two of you together. Song Yaki froze. She really hadn't posted any photos with Jiu Lingxiao on her social media. Also, during the time you've been together, aside from spending his money, what have you done for him? I pressed on relentlessly. When he was sick, who took care of him? When he faced difficulties at work, who helped him figure things out? Jiu Lingxiao's expression grew increasingly grim, because he remembered all these things were done by me. Ruyan, stop talking, he said, his voice trembling slightly. Why can't I say it? I sneered. Jiu Lingxiao, you need to wake up. Song Yaki never loved you from start to finish, she only loves your money. Shut up. Song Yaki completely lost control, grabbing the wine glass from the table and about to splash it on me. I was prepared and dodged to the side. The red wine splashed onto Mr. Han. Enough. Mr. Han stood up, his face darkening. This is Swan Lake Hotel, not a marketplace. The waiters, hearing the commotion, rushed in and froze at the sight. Mr. Gu, please leave. Mr. Han's voice was cold. Also, don't come to me for cooperation in the future. Jiu Lingxiao's face turned pale. He knew he had completely offended Mr. Han this time. Mr. Han, this is a misunderstanding. He tried to explain. There is no misunderstanding, Mr. Han waved his hand. Security, see them out, soon. The security guards arrived. Jiu Lingxiao and Song Yaki had no choice but to slink away. Miss Liu, I'm truly sorry you had to witness such a farce, Mr. Han said, having changed into a fresh set of clothes. I'll consider installing security screening equipment in the hotel from now on. You're too kind, Mr. Han. This wasn't your fault at all, I replied apologetically. I'm the one who caused you trouble. Don't talk about causing trouble. Mr. Han waved his hand dismissively. I've long disliked that Jiu Lingxiao. Today just gave me a good reason to turn him down. Jiang Chen asked from the side. President Han, do you have a grudge against Jiu Lingxiao? More than just a grudge, President Han sneered. This person has used every trick in the book in the business world, poaching talent, engaging in malicious competition, spreading rumors. I've long wanted to teach him a lesson. My heart stirred. It seemed Jiu Lingxiao's reputation was even worse than I had imagined. But now there's no need for me to take action, President Han said, looking at me. Miss Liu, did you know, you did very well today. What do you mean, dare to fight back, not compromise and endure? Mr. Han raised his glass. Such a woman is worthy of respect. I also raised my glass and clinked it with his. Suddenly, I felt a sense of relief in my heart, as if a long-standing knot had finally been untied. 8. Leaving the hotel, Jiang Chen drove me home. Will today's incident affect our project? I was somewhat worried. It won't. Mr. Han really admires you, Jiang Chen reassured me. Besides, what just happened was clearly them being unreasonable. I hope so, I said, gazing at the night scenery outside the window. Jiang Chen, do you think I did the right thing today? Of course it is, he affirmed. Ruyan, you have to believe in yourself. Some people don't deserve your kindness. Being polite to them is being cruel to yourself. Thank you, Jiang Chen, I said sincerely. I really appreciate you being there for me during this time. Don't be silly, we're partners. And more than that, we're friends, Jiang Chen said, stopping the car at a red light and turning to look at me. Ruyan, I hope you can quickly move past this gloom and become that confident, cheerful girl again. I will, I nodded, and I think today is already a good start. The car was parked downstairs at my house, and I was just about to get out when Jiang Chen called out to me. Ruyan, tomorrow is the weekend. Do you want to go hiking together? Hiking? I was taken aback for a moment. Yeah, to breathe some fresh air and relax a bit, Jiang Chen said with a smile. Besides, the scenery on the mountain is beautiful. It might even give you some design inspiration. I thought for a moment and nodded. All right, what time are we leaving tomorrow? 8 in the morning. I'll come pick you up. Okay. See you tomorrow then. When I got home, I took a hot shower and then sat on the balcony drinking tea. What happened today feels like a dream, but I know it's real. I finally dared to fight back, no longer compromising like I used to. My phone rang. It was a text message from Songyaki. Liu Ruyan, you just wait. I won't let today's matter rest. I glanced at the message and deleted it right away. Threaten me. She's not qualified enough. The next morning, Jiang Chen came to pick me up on time. We drove to the Qing Mountain scenic area in the suburbs. It's been a long time since I last went hiking. I took a deep breath of the fresh air. It feels great. Right, I told you the air here is good. Jiang Chen carried a backpack with water and snacks inside. Let's go, we'll head up the mountain. The mountain path wasn't too steep, but after walking for an hour, I was starting to feel tired. Jiang Chen was waiting for me up ahead and handed me a bottle of water. Let's take a break, he said, pointing to a large rock nearby. Sit for a while. I sat down and gazed at the distant scenery. From here, I could overlook the entire city. With its tall buildings shimmering in the sunlight. Jiang Chen, thank you for bringing me here, I said sincerely. I feel much better now. That's good. He sat down beside me. Ruyan, I want to ask you something. What is it? Have you really completely forgotten Jiyu Lingxiao? I was taken aback for a moment, then smiled bitterly and said, it's not entirely true to say I've forgotten him completely. After all, it was a 3-year relationship, but I don't love him anymore. That's the truth. That's good. Jiang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. I was afraid you might still be soft-hearted. Not at all, I said firmly. Some mistakes. Making them once is enough. We continued climbing up the mountain, and by the time we reached the summit, it was already noon. There was a small tea house at the mountaintop where we rested and had a meal. Ruyan, I want to talk to you about something. Jiang Chen put down his chopsticks, his expression turning serious. What is it? Regarding the development of our studio, I have an idea. He took out a document. Mr. Han mentioned to me yesterday that their company is looking for a long-term design partner. I opened the document, and my eyes lit up. This was a huge opportunity. If we could become a partner of the Han Group, our studio would be elevated to a whole new level. This opportunity is truly rare. I looked at the materials seriously, but the requirements are also very high. We need to expand our scale and recruit more talent. Yes, that's why I wanted to ask for your opinion, Jiang Chen said. If we accept this collaboration, it means our work will become busier, and the pressure will increase even more. I think we should give it a try, I replied without hesitating for too long. How many times in life do you get such an opportunity? Missing it would be a lifelong regret. All right, then it's settled. Jiang Chen extended his hand. Pleasure working with you. President Liu, pleasure working with you, Mr. Jiang. I shook his hand. As I came down from the mountain, I felt an unprecedented sense of ease. The future is full of hope, and I am ready to embrace the challenges ahead. 9. On Monday morning, when I arrived at the studio, I noticed Xiao Lin looking somewhat flustered. Boss, there's trouble. She walked over with a newspaper in hand. Take a look at this. I took the newspaper, and the headline on the front page was glaring. Renowned designer accused of plagiarism, professional ethics questioned. The article detailed the so-called plagiarism incident, claiming that several of my recent design works were copied from foreign designers, complete with comparison images. Although the comparison images did show some similarities, anyone with a discerning eye could tell that these so-called similarities were nothing more than malicious slander taken out of context. Who wrote this report? I asked Kobayashi. A journalist named Li Ming. I heard his new, Kobayashi said. Boss, should we clarify things? Of course we need to clarify. I picked up the phone. Help me contact a lawyer. I want to sue this journalist for defamation. Just then, Jiang Chen walked in, looking very upset. Ruyan, President Han called. He said, he saw the news and wants to suspend our collaboration. My heart sank. Someone was indeed plotting behind the scenes. Jiang Chen, do you believe in me? I looked into his eyes. Of course I do, he replied without hesitation. I know your design style well. These accusations are completely baseless. That's good. I stood up. Let's go. We'll go talk to Mr. Han in person. When we arrived at Han Group, Mr. Han's secretary told us that he was in a meeting and asked us to wait. We waited for half an hour before Mr. Han came out. His expression was very serious, clearly affected by the news. Miss Liu, regarding the matter in the news, do you have anything to say, Mr. Han? This is completely malicious slander. I took out the prepared materials. These are the original drafts of my design works, all with timestamps, which can prove my innocence. Mr. Han carefully reviewed the materials, and his expression gradually softened. Indeed, these accusations don't hold up, he nodded. But right now, public opinion is very unfavorable toward you, and I'm concerned it might affect the company's image. I understand your concerns, I said, but Mr. Han, do you believe that evil can never triumph over justice? Of course. Then please give me some time, and I will prove my innocence, I said earnestly, and I assure you, this matter will not affect our cooperation, Mr. Han thought for a moment and nodded. All right, I'll give you 1 week, but if this matter isn't handled properly, our cooperation will have to be put on hold. After leaving the Han Group, I immediately contacted my lawyer. This is clearly someone deliberately framing you, the lawyer said after reading the news. And the method is very crude, it can easily be proven false. Then we'll sue, I said firmly, not only the reporter, but we must also find out who's behind this. All right. I'll prepare the materials right away. That same afternoon, we filed a lawsuit with the court. At the same time, I also spoke out through my Weibo account to clarify the so-called plagiarism allegations and release the relevant evidence. Soon, the situation took a turn. Several well-known designers in the industry stepped forward to testify for me, proving that my work was indeed original. Even more surprisingly, someone anonymously revealed that the journalist, Li Ming, had been paid to write this fake news story. The next day, the truth came to light. It turned out that all of this was orchestrated by Jiyu Lingxiao. He used his connections to find this journalist and had him write fake news to slander me. But he underestimated the intelligence of netizens and also underestimated my capabilities. This incident not only failed to affect my reputation but actually made more people aware of my name. Many media outlets have proactively reached out to me, wanting to interview me about this workplace sabotage incident. Ruyan, you're quite the celebrity now, Jiang Chen said as he walked into my office with a stack of interview invitations. Even CCTV wants to interview you. Yeah, becoming famous isn't easy, I said with a bitter smile. You have to be framed first, but this is a good thing too. It lets everyone know about your talent, Jiang Chen remarked. By the way, President Han called again. He said he wants to formally sign a long-term cooperation agreement. Really? I was a bit excited, really. And he also said he wants to give us that commercial complex project to handle as well. I jumped for joy, which meant our studio was about to experience major growth. Jiang Chen, we did it. Yes, we succeeded. He was also very happy. Ruyan, congratulations. Your hard work has finally paid off. Just then, Xiao Lin knocked on the door and entered. Boss, I have some good news for you, she said excitedly. Jiyu Lingxiao's company has been shut down. 10. What? Both Jiang Chen and I were stunned. It's true, it was just on the news. Xiao Lin turned on the computer. Look, Jiyu Lingxiao has been taken away for investigation on suspicion of commercial fraud and tax evasion. I watched the news footage, and when Jiyu Lingxiao was taken away by the police, his face was pale, completely devoid of his former glory. Karma came so quickly, Jiang Chen sighed. Someone like him deserved this outcome long ago. I didn't say anything, feeling somewhat conflicted. Although I disliked Jiyu Lingxiao, seeing him fall to such a state still made me sigh with regret. Boss, there's another piece of news, Xiao Lin continued. Song Yaki has also been implicated. It's said that she knew about Jiyu Lingxiao's illegal activities but never reported them. How is she doing now? I asked. I heard she ran away. No one knows where she went. I nodded and didn't ask any further. The outcomes for these individuals are all of their own choosing and have nothing to do with me. In the afternoon, Mr. Han personally came to our studio to formally sign a long-term cooperation agreement. Miss Liu, congratulations on turning danger into safety, he said with a smile. Moreover, through this incident, I am even more convinced that choosing you was the right decision. Thank you for your trust, Mr. Han, I said gratefully. By the way, there's one more thing I need to tell you. President Han smiled mysteriously. Regarding Jiyu Lingxiao's matter, I actually played a small part in it. What do you mean? I reported his illegal activities. President Han said frankly. Someone like him has been wreaking havoc in the business world for so long. He should have been punished long ago. It suddenly dawned on me that President Han had been investigating Jiu Lingxiao all along. But none of that matters anymore, Mr. Han waved his hand. What's important is that our cooperation can proceed smoothly. After signing the contract, Mr. Han left. Jiang Chen and I sat in the office, looking at the thick contract on the table, both feeling a sense of unreality. Ruyan, you know what? Jiang Chen suddenly said. I feel like all of this is like fate's arrangement. What do you mean? If it weren't for the drama at the engagement banquet, you might still be sacrificing for Jiu Lingxiao, he said seriously. Now it seems that humiliation has become an opportunity for you to start over. I thought for a moment and nodded. You're right, I smiled. A loss may turn out to be a gain, and I believe the best is yet to come. Jiang Chen looked at me, his eyes gentle. Ruyan, are you willing to walk with me toward a better future? I was taken aback for a moment, then I understood what he meant. Jiang Chen, I know it might not be the right time yet, he interrupted me. But I want you to know that I'll always be by your side, waiting for the day you're ready. I looked into his eyes, and in them, I saw a sincerity and determination I had never seen before. In the 3 years I spent with Jiu Lingxiao, I never once felt this sense of being cherished. Jiang Chen, you don't have to give me an answer now. He reached out and took my hand. We have plenty of time. I nodded, feeling a surge of warmth in my heart, after hearing the first story above. What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. At the birthday party, Chen Wei, the female college student sponsored by Ji Sichuan, handed me a pregnancy test report, publicly humiliating me by calling me a hen that can't lay eggs. I sneered and threw out the affair photos taken by a private investigator, demanding a divorce. He actually scoffed. What do you eat or wear that doesn't come from me? I immediately pulled out an invitation from a top-tier publishing house. My annual salary had 2 more zeros than he ever imagined. After the divorce, I slapped him in the face with the 30% company shares I held, only for him to kneel in the rain, begging for reconciliation. 01 The girl sponsored by Ji Sichuan showed up uninvited. The young girl, like a delicate flower untouched by storms, stood timidly at the door. Brother Sichuan, I came to give Sister Lin a birthday gift. Her voice was timid, laced with a deliberate sweetness. The private room fell silent instantly. Ji Sichuan's expression shifted from shock to panic, then finally to calm. Wei, what are you doing here? My mind went blank on the spot. Ji Sichuan never allowed members of the opposite sex to address him so intimately, believing it was inappropriate. The girl's eyes reddened, as if she were about to cry. I just wanted to come specifically to wish Sister Lin a happy birthday. As she spoke, she stepped forward to hand me the gift. Inadvertently, I caught the girl stealing glances at Ji Sichuan, a look filled with flattery and hidden intimacy. I was all too familiar with it. 10 years ago, I used to look at Ji Sichuan the same way. The atmosphere grew quiet. Ji Sichuan's voice sounded strained. Chen Wei, you know, the company hired her for design work before. I clenched my fingers. How thoughtful of you to specially invite her. He caught the sarcasm in my tone, his lips twitching, a micro-expression he showed when feeling guilty. After years of marriage, I could see right through him. Chen Wei's eyes reddened as if she were on the verge of tears. Don't you want to know what's inside the box, sister? I paused for a moment, opened the box, and found a folded A4 paper inside. Unfolding it, I realized it was a pregnancy test notification. My blood ran cold, and it felt as if I couldn't hear anything around me. Chen Wei said pitifully, Brother Sichuan often tells me that Sister Lin is a hen that can't lay eggs, but I can't be impolite. Happy birthday, Sister Lin. Her blatant provocation drew everyone's eyes to me. There were sighs, pity, sympathy, all because of a marriage. My dignity, my pride, even my character, were ground into the dirt and used as her bragging rights, and the culprit behind it all was my husband. So, behind my back, he used such insulting words to humiliate me. Ji Sichuan looked flustered, trying to pull me aside. Yang, that was just drunken nonsense. I clenched my fists tightly but couldn't hold back. I slapped Ji Sichuan hard in front of everyone. His eyes cleared instantly, and when he regained his composure, his face turned ashen. Lin Yang, who are you putting on this devastated act for? Was she wrong? Everyone held their breath. Someone tried to mediate. Sis, that was just Brother Chuan's angry words. Don't take it seriously. No matter what, she could never replace you. The more they tried to persuade me, the calmer I became, until I finally ordered them to leave. Chen Wei suddenly burst into tears. Sister Lin, I'm really sorry for earlier. But I'm carrying Brother Sichuan's child. The pain in my palm snapped me back to reality. We've been together for 2 years. Brother Sichuan said you couldn't have children and that he would divorce you. I numbly touched my wedding ring, engraved with our names on the inside, on the day we got our marriage certificate. Ji Sichuan said, Yang, I'm content to have married you in this lifetime. How ironic, I sneered. So, you spread rumors that I couldn't have children and then cheated with a clear conscience. Ji Sichuan grabbed my hand. It's not what you think, it was just an accident, and my suspicions weren't unfounded. We've been married for so many years. I scoffed lightly and threw a stack of photos in his face. They were seen entering and leaving hotels together, kissing in the car, and walking side by side into the obstetrics and gynecology department. I had long since hired a private detective. They were efficient and worth every penny. Faced with undeniable evidence, Ji Sichuan's face instantly turned pale. He opened his mouth but couldn't utter a word. Chen Wei suddenly knelt on the ground, crying pitifully, Sister Lin, I'm pregnant. Please let us be together. We truly love each other. The calculation in her eyes was hidden behind tears, so clumsy it was almost laughable. I took off my wedding ring. Ji Sichuan, let's get a divorce. He suppressed his panicked expression, his tone stiff. Lin Yang, what are you going crazy about? I'm not joking with you. Divorce? Are you serious? Ji Sichuan stared at me for a long time, then sneered as if he had thought of something. Are you sure you can survive without me? Everything you eat, drink, wear, and own, isn't it all thanks to me? I looked at him calmly. And then, you've probably forgotten that before marriage, I was a best-selling book editor who helped several breakout authors become famous. In terms of work experience, I'm no worse than you. I picked up my bag and walked past him. And don't forget, the startup capital for your company came from me selling my villa. Ji Sichuan's smile froze on his face as I walked out of the private room in my high heels. Behind me were Chen Wei's soft sobs and Ji Sichuan's angry scolding at her. 02 I wasn't entirely unfamiliar with Chen Wei. A year ago, I had accidentally heard her name from Ji Sichuan's mouth. I came home early, hoping to surprise him. Little did I know it would be the beginning of the cracks in this marriage. I discovered his secret at the door of the study. Wei, don't make a fuss. Ji Sichuan's voice carried a tenderness I knew all too well. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively couldn't move. Next week is your birthday. We'll go to that restaurant you've always wanted to try. I curled my fingers. And the thread of reason snapped at that moment. I pushed the door open abruptly. Ji Sichuan was standing in the entryway. The moment he saw me, his body stiffened, but he quickly returned to normal. Who is Wei? My voice trembled uncontrollably. He remained composed. Just a university student sponsored by the company, you know, from the previous charity project. She did well on her exams this year, and her birthday is coming up. The company is rewarding her as a bonus. Don't overthink it. Seeing that I remained silent, Ji Sichuan affectionately tapped my nose. You're not suspecting me of cheating, are you? I stared at him with difficulty but couldn't say a word. Our relationship had always been stable. There had never been any flirtatious women around him. He came home on time every day, rarely staying out late. His friends even teased him for being henpecked, and he took pride in it. His wedding ring was always on his finger when I was sick. He could work from home just to take care of me. For my birthday, he would prepare surprises a week in advance. How could a Ji Sichuan like this betray me? I forced myself to calm down. Ji Sichuan held me in his arms, affectionately nuzzling my face. If you don't believe me, come with me to her birthday next week. At the very least, she's brought honor to our company. At his pleading, I softened. We attended the event together, but Chen Wei's parents had suddenly passed away, forcing her to miss it. Ji Sichuan showed no signs of abnormality. I observed him for a long time before finally believing him, and we reconciled as before, until 6 months ago. He started coming home later and later, always carrying a faint scent of perfume. My heart gradually grew cold. I was almost certain Ji Sichuan was cheating. 03 at the same hospital. I was overjoyed and wanted to share the news of a new life with him, but I never expected to run into Ji Sichuan there, along with the girl by his side. Ji Shichuan affectionately tapped her forehead. See if you'll dare to seduce me so boldly next time. Chen Wei leaned into his arms like a seductive night cat. I just want to see who matters more in your heart, me or her. Ji Shichuan stubbornly insisted. You definitely can't compare to her, she's my wife. And you're just a student I'm supporting. Then why did you leave her to come to me? We both had checkups, but you chose to accompany me. That proves I'm more important to her. Besides, what kind of student gets pressed onto the bed by their teacher for a night of intimacy and ends up with a high fever the next day? Ji Shichuan hurriedly covered her mouth. Chen Wei playfully wrapped her arms around his, planting a kiss on his lips. Brother Shichuan, you're the one I love most. But I don't want to be the other woman. If I have to, I'd rather leave you. Ji Shichuan remained silent. Chen Wei's eyes reddened as she pushed his hand away. You keep saying you love me, but if you truly did, how could you let me follow you without any clarity? Ji Shichuan softened his tone. Be good. Don't overthink it. I just haven't figured out how to tell her yet. After all, she's been sincere to me too. The pregnancy test report in my hand was crumpled into a ball. I forced back the bitterness, stiffly pulling out my phone and dialing Ji Shichuan's number. He took out his phone and walked to the balcony before answering. Yang, I'm sorry, I had to leave for a business trip yesterday and couldn't accompany you to the hospital. Take good care of yourself at home, and when I get back, I'll make you a nutritious meal to help you recover. His tone was as normal as ever, without a hint of anything unusual. You're too thin. People might think I'm mistreating my wife. When I get back, I'll get you the latest. I cut him off. Ji Shichuan, I know what you're doing. On the other end of the line, even his breathing seemed to stop. He froze in place, then glanced around. The expression on his face could only be described as utter chaos. I smiled maliciously and said slowly, Did I scare you? Did you think I flew here overnight to find you? I was just teasing you. I only wanted to check in and see if you have any secrets I don't know about. He let out a sigh of relief, pretending to be relaxed. What secrets could I possibly have? You're so mean, playing such a joke on me. Do you know how worried I was about you? Just wait for me at home, and I'll be back soon to be with you. I quietly hummed in agreement. He added, Let me know when the test results come out. Your health is very important to me, my dear wife. I smiled and agreed. Then calmly hung up the phone. Reluctantly, I touched my belly and ultimately decided to turn back. This child had come at the wrong time. Ji Shichuan kept calling tirelessly, but I hung up every time. Finally, I answered, Yang, I was too impulsive last time in the private room. Please come back, okay? His voice was gentle, lowering his stance, thinking he was giving me a way out. What happened with her was just an accident, a mistake because we were drunk. I've always loved you, and you must have felt it all these years. I remained silent, gazing at the wedding dress shop across the street. In the display window was a wedding dress identical to the one we wore years ago. Ji Shichuan, do you remember what you said when you proposed? There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. You said, Lin Yang, if I ever betray you, you'll make me lose everything. I didn't waste any more words on him. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'll bring my lawyer to see you. After hanging up, I thought back to when I was 18, the first time I met Ji Shichuan in the library. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling on him, clean and warm. He tapped my shoulder and said, Classmate, you dropped your book. It was *The Little Prince*. And on the title page, I had copied my favorite quote, It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. So, Ji Shichuan spent 10 years turning me into his beloved rose. At our wedding, he excitedly spun me around in his arms, saying he would give me the best of everything in the world. The way he looked at me was as if I were a treasure. Even the host was moved to tears, saying, This young man truly cherishes his wife. Did he cherish me? Perhaps it did hurt. It's just that people's hearts are fickle. I never doubt sincerity. But sincerity is always fleeting. He gave me the whole world. Then shattered it with his own hands. 05. The next day, I returned to the villa where I had lived with Ji Shichuan for 10 years. Hearing the sound, Ji Shichuan turned around and smiled at me. You're back. I made your favorite egg drop soup. This scene was all too familiar, but I had no heart to dwell on it now. I calmly took out the agreement. The lawyer will be here at 9. I've drafted the property division agreement. If there are no issues, sign it. Ji Shichuan froze for a moment, then returned to his usual composed smile. Yang, stop fooling around. I admit I was wrong about Weiwei, but a man is bound to make such mistakes. I interrupted him. Ji Shichuan, you disgust me. His smile stiffened on his face, and he frowned irritably. Lin Yang, take a look at yourself in the mirror. You're not young anymore. What can you do after the divorce? Don't forget who's been supporting you all these years. Without a word, I pulled up the invitation from the top domestic publishing house and shoved it in his face. The annual salary had an extra zero compared to what he had imagined. Ji Shichuan's expression shifted repeatedly. When did this happen? 3 months ago. I really wanted to go at the time, but I was thinking about your stomach issues and that you needed someone to take care of your diet, so I declined. A flicker of regret passed through Ji Shichuan's eyes as he stood there stiffly. Clenching his fists, I sneered. Your company's annual party last December, you took her, didn't you? That restaurant on our wedding anniversary, you took her there too. Ji Shichuan, you couldn't even be bothered to change the location. His face turned pale as he shakily grabbed my hand. Yang, I was wrong. Let's not get divorced. Okay, I really know I was wrong. Give me one more chance. I looked down at him. This face I had loved for 10 years was nothing special after all. I pulled my hand back. Ji Shichuan, do you know what I hate most about you? It's not that you cheated, but that even knowing you were wrong, you still acted as if I could never leave you. He shook his head. It's not like that. I cut him off. The property will be divided according to the law. I want 30% of the company shares. The house goes to me. And the savings are split 50-50. He looked at me in disbelief. 30%? Are you trying to ruin me? I gave him a cold stare. When we were dating, you promised my father that if you ever let me down, you'd leave with nothing. This is already merciful for you. He slumped onto the sofa, trying to make one last effort, but the agreement was officially signed after both lawyers arrived. He stared at me resentfully. Lin Yang, sooner or later, you'll regret this and beg me. I ignored him and walked into the bedroom to take down the wedding photo hanging on the wall. I was wearing a white wedding dress, and he was kissing me, the sunlight casting a golden glow around us. What a perfect illusion. I threw it to the ground, and the shattered glass frame splintered into pieces. Picking up the photo, I used both hands and tore it apart with force. Goodbye, Ji Shichuan, with a ripping sound. The wedding photo was torn in two. One half was me, the other half was Ji Shichuan. I stuffed my half into my bag. Ji Shichuan rushed in upon hearing the commotion and saw only his own half of the wedding photo on the floor, his eyes trembling. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but I didn't give him the chance. I walked straight past him, and as I closed the door, I heard the sound of shattering glass from inside. What he broke no longer concerned me, because none of it mattered anymore. I didn't even want him anymore, let alone anything from his house. 06. Suyu threw a banquet to celebrate my divorce and escape from misery. Also present was Professor Ju, a significant figure in the publishing world. Just as she had said, he was cultured, refined, gentle, and elegant. Our dinner was going pleasantly, but there's always someone who ruins the mood. Yang, I turned around calmly. Ji Shichuan stood not far away, his face gloomy, his suit slightly wrinkled, looking much more haggard. Chen Wei clung tightly to his arm. Her gaze toward me filled with wariness. I couldn't help but find it amusing. Did she really think I would fight her for him? Ji Shichuan's eyes shifted between the three of us. Who is this? I knew he was asking about Professor Ju, but I really didn't want to engage with him, seeing that I didn't respond. His jaw tightened. It's only been a month since the divorce, and you already, Suyu, with her fiery temper, snapped. Where did this stray dog come from, barking all over the place? What if it starts spreading its heat again? Ji Shichuan had never been insulted like this before. Veins bulged on his forehead in anger. Suyu, don't think I won't hit a woman, Mr. G. Professor Ju stood up, politely interrupting him. Miss Lin is single now. She has the right to enjoy her freedom. Moreover, as a man, knowingly making mistakes, compounding them with narrow-mindedness and a lack of grace, it's truly remarkable. Ji Shichuan's eyes turned dangerous. Who do you think you are? My matters with Yang are none of your business. I slammed my cup down heavily. And who do you think you are? He looked at me in disbelief. Of course, I had never spoken to him in such a hostile tone before. I coldly exposed him. I don't need to report to you about who I meet. We have no relationship anymore. If you don't want to be called a lapdog, take your little lover and stay away from me. He stared at me for a few seconds, confirming that I wasn't joking, then dragged Chen Wei away with a look of irritation. Suyu secretly gave me a thumbs up. I would never allow anyone to hurt my friends. 3 months after the divorce, I came across Ji Shichuan and Chen Wei's wedding photos on social media. Surprisingly, their relationship wasn't good, it had even turned hostile. It all started when Chen Wei used a secondary account to flaunt her wealth online, boasting about how she had stepped over the original wife to get her position, and even insulted and slandered the ex-wife. Eventually, her real identity was exposed by paparazzi. Overnight, all the old gossip was dug up and analyzed thoroughly. Her carefully crafted innocent persona completely fell apart, and Ji Shichuan finally saw her true colors. A proud man like him was furious when he realized he had been deceived. He resented her for lying and shifted all the blame onto her. Not long after, a reporter broke the news that Chen Wei had suffered a suspected miscarriage in the hospital, and someone even captured Ji Shichuan slapping her there. Even more shocking was the revelation that Ji Shichuan had been cheated on. The child in Chen Wei's womb wasn't even his. Many upper-class socialites secretly mocked him, saying he was blind and had become a stepfather without even knowing it. Out of curiosity, I clicked on the link. In the video, Chen Wei covered her face, crying, her makeup completely ruined. There was no trace left of the delicate, flower-like appearance she once had. The comments section exploded. The scumbag finally shows his true colors. This is what happens when you become the other woman. The ex-wife must be overjoyed. I asked myself but couldn't find an answer. Chen Wei wasn't innocent for knowingly being the other woman, but wasn't the real villain someone else? Fortunately, during the divorce, I demanded 30% of the shares in Ji Shichuan's tech company. Everyone said I was foolish. What does someone in publishing know about internet technology? But I knew this was more valuable than cash. What mattered most was that Ji Shichuan treated his company like his life. I wanted him to remember, at all times, that part of his life was in my hands. I wasn't like the heroines in novels who leave quietly after being wronged, taking nothing with them. I have a big appetite. What I wanted was half of Ji Shichuan's life. I didn't deliberately keep tabs on them. Instead, I poured all my energy into my career, transitioning from an editor to a writer. My debut novel, The Rebirth of the Rose became an instant hit upon release, selling over 1 million copies. The publisher arranged a nationwide book tour for me, with the first stop in the city where Ji Shichuan and I once lived. I don't believe for a second it wasn't intentional. Suyu gleefully told me, "The media are scrambling to interview you for this signing event." A renowned publisher turned author, her debut work exposing the truth about marriage. Now that's a headline, isn't it? I jokingly asked, with such a sensational headline, "Do you think he'll see this book?" Suyu replied, "Of course he will. I specifically sent him a sample copy, and it was even cash on delivery." On the day of the signing event, Ji Shichuan showed up. "Can I get an autograph?" I looked up abruptly. He stood before the table, noticeably thinner, his eyes bloodshot. The once confident and charismatic business elite now looked utterly disheveled. I asked in a businesslike tone, "What should I write?" Ji Shichuan's Adam's apple bobbed, "To the little prince of the past." My pen paused, and I remembered the copy of The Little Prince that fell in the library when I was 18. Such a distant memory, as if it belonged to another lifetime. Adhering to professional principles, I wrote it anyway, then added one more line at the end. "Roses can bloom without the little prince." Ji Shichuan took the book, his fingers brushing against mine, cold as if he weren't alive. Yang, next," I called out, not looking at him again. After the signing event ended, I had just stepped out of the bookstore when a force pulled me back. Ji Shichuan pinned me against the wall, his voice hoarse. "Why are you so heartless? 10 years of feelings, and you just throw them away." I looked at him coldly, as if he were a clown. He seemed defeated. Yang, I regret it. Chen Wei isn't at all what I thought she was." His expression of deep regret didn't move me. It only made me feel annoyed and utterly disgusted. I just stared at him coldly, my eyes devoid of any warmth. Ji Shichuan's tone grew almost frantic. Yang, please, look back at me, won't you?" That night, I was drunk. I made a mistake with her because of the alcohol. I was just confused for a moment. I know I was wrong. I've cut all ties with her. I swear, there won't be a second time. Just don't leave me. You can hit me, scold me, do whatever you want. For the sake of all these years we've shared, Give me another chance, please. I'm begging you, Yang. Ji Shichuan spoke with such earnestness that he even moved himself to tears, but my heart felt nothing. No matter how deeply he pretended to care, it couldn't change the inherently selfish and rotten nature within him. Otherwise, why would he come to beg for my forgiveness in such a setting? When it came to scheming, I truly couldn't compare to him. Ji Shichuan continued to plead in my ear. I don't love her, Yang. I've only ever loved you. Let's forget the past and live a good life together. Let's go back to how things were. I scoffed, then stared straight into his eyes. You funded her education, bought her designer bags, lived and slept with her, took her on vacations to the Maldives. Ji Shichuan, dare you swear on your entire fortune and life that you never once had feelings for Chen Wei? My voice was soft, but it cut like a poisoned blade. He opened his mouth, his face pale, but no words came out. I stepped back coldly. Ji Shichuan, you disgust me. I ignored his devastated expression. Do you know why I named the book The Rebirth of the Rose ? Ji Shichuan remained silent, the pain in his eyes like that of a trapped, confused beast, because a rose can only be reborn after it dies. And you were the one who killed our love. These words struck him like a heavy hammer, pinning him in place. He stood there, pale and rigid, like a sculpture on the verge of collapse, and I turned and walked away. Never looking back for him again. On the 7th, news spread online that Ji Shichuan stood frozen in place for hours before finally leaving in a hurry after receiving a phone call. As for me, I felt nothing about it anymore. Suyu was furious on my behalf. What's he pretending for? Does he think he's so devoted? To me, he's just pathetic, and using drunkenness as an excuse. If he was really drunk, how could he even get it up? He didn't know how to cherish what he had when he had it. And now that he's lost it, he's unhappy. What was he doing before? It's like showing up with milk after the baby's already dead. Yang, don't be fooled by that scumbag's superficial show of affection. I chuckled lightly. Don't worry, my focus is entirely on my career now. I needed to focus on our new company, and I still had shares in Ji's company to deal with. How could I spare any time for my ex-husband? But Ji Shichuan never gave up, staking out my place day and night. Inevitably, we ran into each other again. He stood in the rain, his voice hoarse. Yang, can we talk calmly? Talk about what? Seeing that I didn't refuse, his eyes lit up, and his voice trembled. I'm sorry, I've thought a lot these past few days. I was too harsh. I took advantage of your affection and hurt you recklessly. I thought you'd never leave me, that you'd tolerate me endlessly. Drops on his face blurred the line between tears and rain. Ji Shichuan continued, almost talking to himself. It was my arrogance and foolishness that made me forget my original intentions, nearly destroying the most important person in my life. I didn't move, just listened quietly. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just ask for a chance to make it up to you, to make amends. I slowly walked up to him, looking down at the face I once loved. Do you know why I was able to leave you so decisively? He looked utterly confused. Because I had already prepared myself the moment I found out you cheated, so whether you're here or not makes no difference to me. So, why should I give you a chance? Ji Shichuan seemed to have all the bones pulled out of him, collapsing weakly onto the sofa. No, that's not how it is. He shakily pulled out a photo of us from his pocket. Look, this is our photo, from our first date. I've kept it safe all this time. I do love you. On the damp photo, I was smiling so happily. And he was looking at me with love in his eyes. Yang, he said cautiously. I snatched the photo from his hand, and a look of desperate regret flashed across Ji Shichuan's face. I said coldly, do you think this photo alone is enough to earn my forgiveness? Before I could finish, his eyes suddenly reddened, and he knelt directly on the ground. I beg you, forgive me this once, just this last time. I crouched down and gave him a smile free of any resentment. Ji Shichuan, there's actually a secret I've never told you. He looked up at me, a flicker of hope in his eyes. I smiled innocently. Did you know that we once had a child, our child? He stared at me in disbelief. I delivered the final, cruel blow. The day I called you from the hospital, I was actually there in person. He looked at my abdomen in despair, his expression twisting in pain. You, Lin Yang, how could you be so heartless? That was the child we had longed for. How could you do it? I cut him off. Why couldn't I? Ji Shichuan, have you developed amnesia? You were the one who said I couldn't have children. What right do you have to expect me to bear your child? He staggered and sat on the ground, his eyes devoid of any light. That's not true. I was just speaking in anger back then. There's no illegitimate child. The baby in Chen Wei's belly isn't mine. She's been lying to me all along. I sneered. How ironic. You even destroyed our 10-year marriage for a child that isn't yours. But it doesn't matter anymore. I, Lin Yang, will never bear a child for a scumbag like you. I stood up, taking one last look at the photo in my hand. As for these, let them be as if they never existed. No, his terrified cry was still stuck in his throat as the photo shattered into pieces in my hands. Right in front of him, I tore apart the most beautiful memory between us with my own hands. He reached out desperately to catch the pieces but came up empty-handed. In the end, the photos turned into a pile of fragments, scattered in the rain. His eyes lost their focus as he slowly raised his hands to cover his entire face. A trace of wretched moisture seeped through his fingers. Everyone makes mistakes, he roared in bitter indignation, his voice tearing through the rain. Why can't you give me one more chance? Because some mistakes don't deserve forgiveness. I didn't answer him. Instead, I turned and walked away, leaving him kneeling in the rain. 08 The night before I left the country, Chen Wei came to see me. The once vibrant and beautiful college girl now looked haggard and worn. Sister Lin, please give me 5 minutes, she pleaded, her voice choked with tears. Her eyes were swollen like walnuts, and there were bruises on her wrists. Did Ji Sichuan hit you? I asked, puzzled. She looked up abruptly, tears streaming down her face. Sister Lin, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. He drinks every day now, and his company is on the verge of collapse. Chen Wei sobbed. When he's drunk, he calls out your name and hits me, saying it's all my fault that you two divorced. I suppressed my complicated emotions. So why did you come to me? To ask me to save your Sichuan? Chen Wei collapsed to her knees, crying uncontrollably. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Please remarry him. If this goes on, he'll beat me to death. I couldn't help but laugh in anger. These two were truly a match made in heaven, both coming to beg me to remarry Ji Sichuan. Had I stumbled into a nest of lunatics? I said coldly. Back then, you knelt before me and begged me to let you two be together. Chen Wei cried bitterly. Sister Lin, I know I was wrong. Please help me. I calmed down. Do you know, I was once pregnant too on the day I first discovered your affair. But I didn't keep the child because I couldn't let a life be born into a world of lies and betrayal. You want me to remarry him? Don't you think you've gone too far? Chen Wei's face turned pale, her lips trembling as she struggled to speak. Leave, I said calmly. Ji Sichuan and I are over. Whatever happens between you two has nothing to do with me. Don't come looking for me again. 3 months later, I was in Paris. The Rebirth of Roses won the Overseas Annual Best Work Award. On the day of the award ceremony, I stepped onto the stage I had long dreamed of. The spotlight shone on my face, warm and intense. Thank you to all the readers who supported this book, I said, my hands trembling slightly as I held the trophy. And a special thanks to my past self. Thank you for bravely taking off that ring. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. Professor Ju, or rather, Ju Shu, as he now preferred to be called, said, your book inspired me greatly, especially the part about post-traumatic growth. It was then that I noticed the absence of a wedding ring on his slender fingers. He smiled sheepishly. I also went through a divorce and a rebirth. Though mine wasn't as inspiring as yours, when I returned to China, he came to see me off. Would you be willing to give a lecture at the university sometime, about the process of women's self-reconstruction? I smiled and agreed. It would be my honor. On the way back, Suyu sent me a financial news link. Your ex-husband is in the news again, and it's trending non-stop. Former tech tycoon Ji Sichuan declares bankruptcy, his assets to be auctioned off to pay debts. The accompanying link also included a photo of Ji Sichuan being detained for drunk driving, unshaven and in a crumpled suit. He looked nothing like the elite he once was. After a moment of thought, I dialed my lawyer's number. Regarding the auction of Ji Sichuan's villa, I intend to participate. You want to buy it back? No, I want to witness it being demolished. Epilogue. Later, I never saw Ji Sichuan again. I only heard that he left the city, his whereabouts unknown. As for my life, just like the title of my new book, it has grown increasingly radiant after rebirth. One day, I recalled that line from *The Little Prince*. It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. A rose doesn't necessarily have to grow in a castle. A rose in the wilderness is even more resilient and free. This time, I will only be my own rose.